So we have the new moon in Capricorn that's coming up here on the 11th of, I almost said December, on the 11th of January. And so the themes of Capricorn, or the overarching energy of Capricorn, the first thing I think of, or what comes to me when I think about that, living here in the northern hemisphere, is Capricorn season is one of winter. It signals the beginning of winter. It signals a germination period. It signals things that are underneath the surface and are getting ready to sprout from a seasonal perspective. And so I feel there's a big preponderance of that type of energy, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, or wherever you are in the world. Just from an energetic standpoint, the symbolism here with this new moon is one of, there's a lot going on underneath the surface that you may or may not be able to feel and be aware of. So there's that as kind of the overarching energy. And then the other energies of Capricorn from a more topical perspective is structure, authority. And what I'm getting when I say authority is like inner authority, like what's your truth is kind of what's coming to me there. And so it also symbolizes responsibility, and responsibility in the fact, not in the fact, in the responsibility from the perspective of taking responsibility for yourself and how you're showing up, what you're feeling, what you need, what's in your life that no longer needs to be there, where your energy gets focused. So if you think about Capricorn from a natural zodiac perspective, it's opposite of the sign of Cancer. And so I always see these energies as an energy band. And so if you think of the Capricorn side of Cancer, Capricorn is taking responsibility for emotions, but it can also symbolize where I don't feel safe to show all of my emotions. And so Capricorn can be more of the relying so much on structure and belief systems that the underlying Cancer emotional type things maybe are hard to access. And so it could be that there's conditioning that's in place that's more conditioning from a Capricorn perspective, which is more rigid and is more structured. And if you go too far into the Capricorn side of this energy band, then the emotions don't have space to be able to be expressed, or they get pushed aside, or you're not quite sure how to articulate them because you're not sure, when emotions come up, what do I even do with these? I have no idea. I was never taught this. I don't know what it means. And so it's uncomfortable for me. So those are kind of like the main themes that come up for me with this reading. And so always with the new moon, it's a seed energy, and it's an energy of things that will play out from now till, let's say, the next full moon in Capricorn. But the timing is not so important with this one. I feel like it's more things are going to continue to show themselves, and this new moon signals that time period. So I feel I feel there are going to be some things bubbling to the surface that are going to require action, or some kind of a structured energy is what I'm getting. So with that, let me pull up the chart and I'll see what other energies or what other messages come through to me. So as I stated up top, this new moon in Capricorn is on January 11th, and it's taking place at 3:57 a.m. PST. So here in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And here is a look at the chart here for that new moon, which is symbolized right here. And so I looked at this before, and like Pluto didn't really stand out to me, which is right here, right next to that energy, but it is now as I pull it up. And so Pluto heading towards Aquarius, it's going to enter Aquarius on the 20th of January, right? It's going to form an exact conjunction with the sun on the 20th and head into Aquarius. So whenever a body, dwarf planet Pluto heads into the last degrees of a sign, there could be some intensity there. And so we've already experienced this before, because Pluto briefly went into Aquarius last year and then backed out again, and it's moving forward again. So this is just, from an energetic standpoint, it's a pretty intense period of time, and a pretty intense period of time in the sign of Capricorn, which Capricorn is all of the things that I kind of already hit on in the beginning that I was getting energetically. But with this new moon, I feel in line with Pluto is like this underworld, deep soul depth kind of transformative type energy. And again, I get like that snow-covered ground where there's so much going on underneath the surface that it depends on how sensitive you are. You either can feel it and you know it and you can sense it. And when I'm saying that, you're like, oh, hell yeah. Or it's maybe not so obvious and you maybe have some inklings that things are changing, but you're not quite sure what those are or where you're going to be going or what's going to come to the surface. You're not quite there yet. And so the big thing that jumps out to me when I look at this chart is the exact squares to the nodes. So we have an exact square to these nodes here, 20 degrees. And so the nodes are in Libra and Aries. And so the theme with this nodal shift into Aries and Libra is all about you in relationship to others, Libra. And so for you on this personal journey, and we're all on our own path and our own journey here. And yes, there's an overarching energy to this from a collective standpoint, which I feel a lot is coming to the surface, just from an energy perspective. There's more light here on the planet. There's more shadow stuff that needs to come to the surface that maybe is underneath the ground here with this Capricorn energy. All of that stuff needs to come to the surface to be seen, so it is understood, integrated, and transcended. And so back to this axis of Aries and Libra, how do I authentically express myself, Aries, and express myself from an Aries way, meaning I need to do it. It's like instinctual, it's from my soul. I need to expend my energy in this area. And so how do I do that in relationship to other people, Libra? Do I have relationships that allow me to do that? Are there relationships that I feel restricted and I'm not able to express myself the way that I want to? Maybe within relationships, things come to the surface where there's shadow stuff that comes out for us, can be part of this energy as well. And so I look to the ruler of Aries, which is Mars, which is in Capricorn. It recently took off and headed into Capricorn. And so it goes back to this new moon energy, Mars in Capricorn. What do I need to see? How can I take responsibility for what I'm feeling? How can I create, or let me say it differently. How can where is the best situations, relationships, environments, activities. Where is the best place for me to place my energy? Where does it feel good for me to focus my energy? And am I do I feel like I have a container, Capricorn? I have the right environment, I have the right mindset, I have the right orientation in relationships to be able to do that. And if I do not, with this Capricorn energy, stuff's percolating underneath the surface, which means, yeah, you're going to be shown areas that are going to need some adjustments, where there needs to be some type of a workable structure. And when I say workable structure, I almost get pulled to like your contribution to society or your job or how you're viewed out in society, because that is Capricorn energy related to the 10th house, related to being seen out in society. So that can certainly be part of it too. But I don't think that's certainly, I think that's a small portion of what I'm getting energetically. For some of you, yes, it could be definitely tied to how you're contributing your energy out in society, which could be tied to career. The other energy here that needs to get pulled in is the ruler of Capricorn, Saturn, which is in the sign of Pisces. And so we have Saturn, which is in a supportive aspect to Mars here, supporting this new moon energy. And so when I talk about Saturn and Pisces, it's giving form to the formless. And I'm sure if you watch me, you've heard me say that at least 3 or 4 times already. And so I feel that this energy in Pisces, with Neptune being in Pisces and Saturn being in Pisces, is a really good match. Saturn comes in to say, okay, where things were a little unclear, or maybe I was kind of like lost in disillusionment, or things were fuzzy. I wasn't quite sure how to structure things. I just didn't really know how to connect with this reality. Well, Saturn comes into Pisces and is like, here you go. This is where your energy needs to go. And so I'm going to give you direct feedback to show you areas where adjustments may be needed. And so how you receive that feedback is how you receive that feedback. But what I'm getting here, with any changes that you feel called to make, or anything that becomes really uncomfortable, is the other thing that I'm getting here too. So like a work situation, relationships, environments, old patterns of doing things, old belief systems that are no longer serving you, it's going to get uncomfortable. And that's almost what I feel too, is this energy of Saturn and Pisces is, it may be uncomfortable, but the reason why it feels uncomfortable is because it's no longer serving you. And so your energy is being moved out of those. You're being shown where you need to re-examine, or you need to pay attention to areas that are not working or don't feel good for you or don't feel in alignment. This new moon in Capricorn is bringing, like, I feel like it's not, I kind of get, for some of you, it's like a tower card thing, but for others, or like, I'd say like the majority of this energy, I feel is a progressive energy, meaning that certain things will continue to get louder and louder for you, but there's going to be like it's almost like a trickle effect, like one thing after another comes up, where for most, it's not like a jarring type energy. It's more of continually making these tweaks and adjustments to get you more in alignment with where you feel good, and in alignment with where your energy is flowing. So that's what I'm getting here from this energy. There's this inconjunct to Black Moon Lilith here in the sign of Leo. It's retrograde. And what do I get with that energy here? I I feel this is more refinement of self-expression is what I'm getting. So if you think of the Leo archetype, the Leo is creativity. The Leo archetype ruled by the sun, it's like I need to be seen, I need to express myself in some type of creative way. And you name it, that can be endless for each individual person. But with Black Moon Lilith in Leo, that's Black Moon Lilith is like primal energy, and I need to express this. But with this inconjunct here to Capricorn, like Capricorn, I'm getting more of the structure of Capricorn, not being showing you where to authentically express that Leo energy, where maybe it hadn't been expressed in the right ways or in the right environments, or something was off. It wasn't quite working out the way that you had expected, or things are not, you're not getting external feedback the way that you thought you would. And so it's almost like a refinement, but I'm also getting from the side too an opportunity, meaning an opportunity that you don't see in conjunct, an opportunity that you don't see that comes in that allows you to get the structure and environment you need to be able to express primally within you what you want to create and express from a Leo perspective. So that's what I'm getting there. And then I see, like, I feel like this trine to Uranus is kind of like tapping a little bit on this energy, this new moon in Capricorn. And it's almost like even if you don't see it, or even if you experience the changes coming in terms of these are uncomfortable, or I'm not quite sure, or I don't quite see it, or how is this adding value? There's this trine to Uranus in retrograde, and Uranus is going to come out of retrograde towards the end of the month, where these little tweaks and these little adjustments, it's almost like what I'm getting is the energy of, like, why can't I think of the word, but when there's an earthquake, tremors. When you're feeling tremors, it's like an earthquake's coming and you start feeling tremors. And it's like that's kind of the energy I'm getting, is like you start feeling these little pushes and nudges into different areas or to look at certain things. And this trine to Uranus is saying, yes, Uranus can be a sign of individuation, and it's in the sign of Taurus, which is your own ways that you support yourself and how you value yourself. So it's almost like, yeah, these things that may be coming up that are uncomfortable, or different avenues you're going down that are not quite familiar, or maybe even an opportunity that comes in that you're not quite sure that you can do it, or that it fits you, or that it makes sense. It's almost like this trine to Uranus is like, yep, it's meant for you. It's like, just keep going. It's like, follow the energy, keep noticing where you feel discontent and where you feel your energy flowing to, and it's not even like have faith. It's almost like, know that this road that you're going down, or these tweaks and adjustments that are being made, or things that are happening, are to get you into alignment with who you really are. And so you can trust that you're supported here, is what I'm getting with the trine pattern. And then part of this, I didn't cover it with this square, but part of it with Eris still hanging out here with the North Node, and you have Chiron there as well. So it's all of this energy blends together. The themes that have been happening and are continuing is definitely some deep healing. And Eris is an energy of strife and discord. But what I get with this strife and discord, and especially with this Eris being stationary, here you see the S here, so it's stationary, that's like a concentrated energy, is like yes, there may be, like, think of relationships, this band of Libra and Aries. There may be triggers within relationships or just within conversations with other people. Things come up, or interactions between people, things come up that trigger you. And it's almost like a tap to say, okay, look at that. What's going on here? What's the deeper meaning? You're being triggered for a reason. We just don't get triggered. We don't have a strong reaction to things and they just don't mean anything and we brush them off and move aside and move on. Although you have the will and the free will to do that, you can do that. They'll just keep coming in different ways and different forms. So what I'm getting with this Eris energy is healing within relationships, and that means maybe sometimes there's some strife and discord that goes on. There's, Aries ruled by Mars. Mars is separating energy. I need to separate myself, could be part of this energy. But underneath that, I really get the Chiron energy strong, which is healing, deep healing in terms of, the overarching energies, relationships, but like think of traumatizing relationships or belief systems about relationships, or maybe even ancestral wounding is what I'm getting here. Or maybe it is just healing in terms of relationships that were important and they dissipated at some point in time, and now they come back around so that there's healing and that energy bond can be reestablished again in a different frequency, in a more supportive and healthy way. And so that's the energy I'm getting there. So as always, I appreciate your energy. Thank you so much for checking this out, and I will see you again in another video. Take care.